Hey, what's up, everyone? Long here. So, first off, I just want to say it's been a while since I've kind of gotten around to catching up on some games again. But I just want to give a quick shout out to Key Mailer for the key, and also and I want to go ahead and show a little attention to Quarks Interactive. So this game came out at the end of January. As you can see here, it's got some positive reviews. So I actually want to shine a light on this. So far, like the reviews, mostly positive. There's the one negative review. So it looks like UI really needs a rework. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but I want to go ahead and check this out and let you all know my impressions on the game. So we're gonna go ahead and check it out right now.
Comes
Okay,
thee
finally.
to stand.
All right.
For in a grain
Sorry
of
about that.
sand lies a
Unfortunately, like the
universe
game did not go to my
under your
primary
sentient
monitor,
hand.
so that's very
Worlds shape
kind
at
of grainy.
your
To be
command.
fair. Said my nickname. Nickname is Long T Tran. There you go. That's interesting. Quantum Odyssey, loading main menu. Okay, so is this a single player game or is this a game that's going to require me to go online? I hope not. Let's find out here. So right now I am a rank 1. Available badges, select your badges. Pretty cool avatar though. I like the starting avatar. Um, so according to this, we have to solve a bunch of puzzles. I'm at 365. Whoa! This game came out in January, late January, I may add, and I'm only at 365. Really? Quantum Network. We'll have to check out the Quantum Network later. Experiment creature. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check out Descend. Let's see what this gets us. Ethereal whisper from the Sage of Axiom, seeker of universal truths. I welcome thee to our time immemorial playground. I command your choice to begin your odyssey in the heart of existence itself. Know that you are granted access to the most exalted mentors as you progress your sacred quest. I stand before you as the first of the sages that have axioms, the aspect to embody irreducible truths, ideal shapes, and forms from which the cosmos itself is born, only to be measured against its own imperfections. Allow me to teach you all that I know. When you prove ready, I will come seeking your help in return. For now, I have prepared 3 tutorials on how to use our forge. Pay attention, you shall be granted immeasurable power. Alright. Let's take a look here. So, I see some buttons on the bottom. There's a back key, and then there is navigate, zoom in, zoom out. So I'm zooming out. Pretty big galaxy full of rings here. So the assumption here is that open cosmic wisdom requires level 6. Alright, let's check it out. Unveiling the forge. Unleash the quantum forge and begin your odyssey towards mastering the nature of reality. In the hands of an adequately trained smith, this device can craft quantum algorithms of immeasurable power. Okay. Loading module. Seeker, feast your eyes on the Quantum Forge, the builder of worlds. Know that it chose you as its new master, for it desires to build worlds unbuilt. Your odyssey to command its power commences from this moment. I bestow upon you complete dominion over our forge. Let its gates swing wide, for its new champion has arrived. By the pulse of primordial light, awaken now, forge! Take a moment to familiarize yourself with the hotkeys. Use the WSAD keys to pan the camera. Press the F key to recenter it. To zoom in and out, simply scroll the mouse wheel anywhere within the forge environment. These hotkeys are particularly useful when analyzing large or complex circuits. Beyond the forge is for sigil following interrupted through a single indivisible unit of time. Observe its color, shape, and movement. Blue around and trapped in a cycle of constant falling. Pause or slow down the passage of time to inspect it. The sigil is the most indivisible unit of quantum information in our universe. Hover over this falling sigil to check its vectorial content. Observe that it contains a single piece of information. 1. Know that information is persistent in our universe. It never gets destroyed, nor can it be created. Everything that exists will always exist, albeit in a different form. Information simply transforms, gets altered, or through the forge is manipulated. You are blessed with the power to manipulate sigils through the circuit configuration. To achieve this, you'll be granted quantum gates here whenever you become ready for more. Hover over the empty slot to observe how it relates to the unit time that the sigil falls through. Okay. Oh. Yep. That's the empty slot right there. Seeker, I now grant you your first quantum gate in the circuit configuration. When you feel ready to proceed further, drag this gate to the empty slot. Okay. Ah, very interesting. Cool. So we solved that puzzle. Einstein was confused, not the quantum theory. It's from Stephen Hawking. Toggle circuit configuration. Opens, closes circuit configuration panels. Here you can add, remove qubits, add, remove gates, and yeah, that's cool. Nice. Okay. Your cosmic keys. 2 puzzles. Delve deeper into the inner workings of your forge. Find out how state grabbers and space switches will become useful in designing quantum algorithms. Discover your knowledge vault. These fundamentals will get you all set to begin your training on what quantum gates can do. Start learning. Now we will discuss quantum gates and how to interpret their designs in the forge. Universal quantum gates, the axioms of change, modify sigils, information, and the paths it takes. Quantum gates are quantum computing's foundational axioms. Just as language emerges from letters, quantum algorithms emerge as a combination of quantum gates placed in a meaningful sequence. You may find that with gates you can define all changes in the universe. You may also find that human endeavors could be represented through a series of quantum gates and sigils. Observe there are several gates already present in the circuit. One of them is fixed, and the rest can be manipulated. The fixed gates in the circuit configuration are placed by the sages to facilitate your training. They can never be removed. In order to remove all gates, press the clear circuit button or right-click each gate in the circuit configuration. Okay, there you go. In order to remove all gates, yep, so done. So now what? That's it. That was the lesson. Everything we see is inside our own heads. Buckminster Fuller. Okay. The Forge manifests the full quantum Hilbert space view over the circuit in it. All possible paths the sigil can take. There is another view that we sages call the state view. This will only show you the paths sigils take. You can switch the Forge to show either the Hilbert or the state space by clicking on either of the pins that display bit string sequences under which sigils spawn. Often the circuit becomes long and you will find that your interests are focused solely on altering the bottom port. In such cases, know that you can modify the spawning position of the sigil by using the advanced circuit tool. Dear Seeker, before you finish this lesson, know that you're collecting all this knowledge in your cosmic vault. This is your most sacred possession. Every axiom you unlock should remain forever yours, stored in your vault. Treasure it as it is your most prized possession. Okay. So I think I just need to get rid of 1, right? Oh. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Waiting solution. It's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. Albert Einstein. Okay. Forge inner workings. Conclude your foundational training over the Forge's core capabilities. Discover how to interpret the sigils and their interactions with the quantum gates. Realize that the Forge is manifested mathematics. A visual spectacle of the precise multiplication rules of long vectors and large matrices filled to the brim with complex numbers. Seeker, before we start your formal training in quantum computing, let's briefly touch the last remaining details about your forge. Quantum sigils can experience up to 3 interactions: path change, color change, merge, or split. The atlas explains their color cycling. Know that sigils can hold up to 2 of the 4 colors. You can observe these colors in the current forge configuration. The sigils are complex numbers manifesting. The colors are the sign values of their real imaginary components, while their size is given by the amplitude of these numbers. Your forge is able to create complete the visual equivalence of all the mathematics and code that goes into the creation of quantum algorithms. You will naturally learn the color interactions as you master the forge. Use the atlas whenever you need to refresh your memory throughout your journey. You can easily open and close it anytime by pressing Q. You are not required to understand complex numbers, yet you may find in time they are surprisingly easy to master. Okay, there's our atlas. So we open it with Q. Reactions of paths between sigils. Complex number multiplication. So I see imaginary numbers. I see plus and minus. Okay. So imaginary seems to trump the real numbers. Reactions from sigil collisions. Okay, interesting multiplication table. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the atlas. Scroll through the mouse using the mouse wheel at the bottom of the circuit configuration. Complete this quantum circuit by dragging to the empty slot the gate holding 4 lines that looks fit to collide the sigils. You like this? See, so it changes green, then it changes red. Oh, they collide, and then that one's completed. Interesting interaction. You can't better the world by simply talking to it. Philosophy, to be effective, must be mechanically applied. Buckminster Fuller. Good, you've kindled the forge. I'm the missing sage. I don't need titles or rules, and neither do you. You live for the challenge, for the thrill. You didn't come here to sit through lectures or memorize some old sage's definitions. You came to play with quantum itself, to bend it, break it, and make it yours. The sages think they've got it all figured out. They throw names at things they barely understand, but you know better. If you're sick of their endless talk, thank them for the tutorial and walk away. Come with me. No rules, no lectures. I offer raw chaos. A challenge that's all about instinct. Together, we'll rip through the patterns they're too scared to touch. Forget their dogma. Forget their rules. With me, you won't follow a path. You'll forge your own. I'm not here to give you easy answers. I'm here to set you free. That's nice of you. Congratulations, Seeker. The sage, an ethereal whisper from the Sage of Axioms. The Forge now responds to your touch. Ahead lies an expedition to the realm of universal quantum gates, the building blocks of algorithms that bend the fabric of reality itself. I have prepared your first lesson in quantum computing to guide you toward mastery over your inaugural gate. Once you conquer this step, the path will open wider, leading you ever closer to the Council of the Sages, ancient guardians of knowledge beyond mortal comprehension. You draw nearer to unraveling the cosmos' most enigmatic mysteries, which with each new gate you surmount. The quantum Odyssey calls you, Seeker. Embrace your destiny, for greatness and glory await. Check it out. Poly X Gate, 7 puzzles. You are ready to begin your quantum gates training and receive your first gate. The X gate, or poly gate, is a quantum gate that flips the state of a qubit. It changes the state from 0 to 1, and from 1 to 0, similar to the classic NOT gate. Puzzles are mathematically correct problems. Each puzzle has input, the starting position, size, and color of the sigil. Slots, spaces that allow you to manipulate the sigil. Output. The static sigil represents the intended solution. Goal. Align the falling sigil with the static one. You get addition. What is that? You get additional rewards. What now? Let me see here. If you design shorter algorithms than what's known. Okay. That's basically... So, basically, this is just... Yeah, like... Yeah, min-maxing. Values at the top and at the bottom show the problem's input and output states. The X gate generates crossing paths between 0 and 1 gate states, and add it to have the sigil cross bit states. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty simple one. I don't think you'll get any better than that. The first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. Richard P. Feynman. X gates are reversible. Add another X gate to have the sigil cross back to the IO state. Education breeds confidence. Confidence breeds hope. Hope breeds peace. Confucius. Nice quote. The forge now holds 2 bits, each bit having its own respective 0 and 1 states. That's why the forge doubled in size horizontally. The 2 bits now create 4 bit strings. 00, 01, 10, 11. Bit strings listed following the LSB convention are an ordered assembly of all possible states. The rightmost bit is the least significant, first to change. Place an X gate on its empty slot to see 2 crossings similar to those before. They look identical to what you expect on a single bit because the gate only affects the transitions of the first to change bit. Okay, so that would affect all slots. Same result. So you can't just solve it with 2 gates. You'd likely need to have another one. There you go. 3 gates at the minimum. Primary aim of quantum artificial intelligence is to improve human freedom, dignity, equality, security, and total well-being. Amit Ray. Place an X gate on the empty slot of the leftmost gate. Observe that the generated pattern leaves the rightmost bit alone. The sigil will travel from input 00 to output 10. The forge looks different because you've now flipped the most significant bit according to the LSB convention. Okay. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. Leonardo da Vinci. Getting to 1 from 00 is simply a matter of placing X gate on each bit. Observe how the generated pattern crosses the entire forge. Yep. The purpose of our lives is to add value to the people of this generation and those that follow. Buckminster Fuller. 3-bit strings double the size of the forge again. On a single bit we had 2 states. On 2 bits we had 4 states. And now on 3 bits we have 8 states. The total number of possible states is 2 to the nth power, where n is the number of your bits. Flip just the 2 rightmost bits to turn their states 1 and then reach the final state 0, 1, 1. There you go. Hey, I gotta get it. There it is. You are my qubit. I shall never see you, but I know you do exist. Rodriguez Risk. Empty slots in the column below each bit allow you to add additional gates for that particular bit. Each of the 3 columns defines what happens to each bit separately. The sigils always tell the story of all the bits combined. Recall that X gates are irreversible. You can split this problem into 2 parts. To reach 1, 0, 0, 1 triple 0, you must first reverse the middle and rightmost bits by placing X gates on both. To reach 1, 0, 0, add an X on the leftmost bit. Okay. There we go. Progress in science consists in seeing what everyone else has seen, but thinking what no one else has thought. Zent Georgi. Poly Z gate. From here on, your Forge's bits become qubits, and you'll begin developing your intuition for all things quantum. The Z gate is your first quantum-only gate. It has no analog in the classical Boolean logic you're accustomed to. Seeker, just pay attention, you can do this. Well, let's take a look here. Know that there is no Z-gate analog in classical programming. This is not something achievable using plain bits on regular computer. This gate introduces the concept of quantum phase. This gate requires that you take your first step into quantum computing. Instead of a bit that can hold just one of the 2 states, we now have a qubit, where x or y 0 plus y over or 1, where x and y are complex numbers of the form a plus bi, such that x squared and y squared, and 0 and 1 are the 2 allowed quantum states. If there is a single sigil present, the qubit is in a definite 0-1 state, identical to a bit. Okay? X and Y are called amplitudes of quantum states, visually encoded in the size and color of the sigil. You can check this by hovering the mouse over the forge. So basically it has to be a red, right? So no, that wouldn't work. There you go. Is science of any value? I think the power to do something is of value. Whether the result is a good thing or a bad thing depends on how it is used. But the power is of value. Richard P. Feynman. The Z-gate is directly reversible. Adding another Z-gate on the same qubit will cancel the effect of the first one. Click the second and third state information buttons to see why. Okay. Y, -1 times -1 equals +1. Yeah, I mean that's basically like just yeah, 2 negatives multiplied together actually makes a adding another Z gate on the same qubit will cancel the effect of the first one. Yeah. Z and here. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to it with intelligence. From Abigail Adams. Reach the 1-1 state. Achieve this by adding another Z gate on the second row of qubit 2. Observe that on the leftmost states of both qubits 1-1, the color forge turned blue. This is because these Z gates in the same row had their elements multiplied. From 2-2 size matrices, they become 4-4 in their elements. Qubit 2 must also be in the 1-1 state. For the added an X gate before the Z gate. There it is. Sometimes it seems to me that a bond between two have become so real, so tangible, so friendly that I can almost see it. Then I awake with a little shock. For a chemical bond is not a real thing. It does not exist. No one has ever seen one. No one ever will. It is a figment of our own imagination. Here is a strange situation. The tangible, the real, the solid, is explained by the intangible, the unreal, the purely mental. Charles Colson. The gates generate patterns based on quantum state vector matrix multiplication rules, which are described in the state information for each computational row. What's happening here cannot be expressed using analogies for your human experience. Familiarize yourself with the patterns and you'll learn the fundamental logic that our universe follows. If you wish to master everything there is about quantum computing, always work with the circuit tools open. The Forge gives you a complete visual experience of complex numbers and vector multiplication rules. Mastering linear algebra and complex number multiplication rules is not required to master the Forge. You may find that these will naturally come to you as they come. Okay, I'm going to solve this puzzle, and I'll probably just go ahead and call it. And because I just want to give my impressions. I will probably play more of this offline. Add an X gate followed by a Z gate on qubit 3. Okay, so there it is, and then the first principle is that you must not fool yourself, and you are the easiest person to fool. Richard P. Feynman. Okay, I think I've seen enough in my 30 minutes. My under like 30 minutes or so. But I'm gonna go ahead and give my impressions on this one. So, basically, so the game, it feels very, 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 very hand-holdy, and the beginning is like there is a thing called like having too much of a tutorial here. You just want to get to the game play as soon as possible, but instead, like, this feels more like an educational tool. And I've had some experience with like writing code before, because and part of that is also involves being able to manipulate bits in a state. So that is what makes up like all the different like characters, the words that you see like digitally, and as well as like a lot of logic computing that happens in programs. So like big or small. So but basically, like this game feels less like a game, and it feels more like a tutorial, like a educational lab. Not that it's a bad thing, but it is advertised as a game. So if I were to go into, for example, unfortunately, like the music cuts off here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hit stop on this. But this is basically advertised as a game. I mean, it's got some really cool like sages and such, and then but if you go to the store page here, it is $18 US currently. So maybe I missed something like when I first received the key, and I probably would have had like more pertinent information regarding the pricing, considering it's an early access. But this feels more like a UI game, UI like a interaction that'll teach you about like quantum computing. I think the subject itself is can be fascinating for some, including myself, but I don't think that I would probably recommend this to a lot of people. This feels very very handholdy, and I think like I'm already like 30 minutes. I was like about I didn't even make it to like 30 minutes by the time decided that this is a very tutorial heavy, because I know for certain that the developer likely was trying their best to communicate information that was pertinent to playing the game. It's not just playing the game; it's also learning about like bit strings, quantum computing, and a bunch of these other like really cool topics that many of us developers have to touch on. But I do feel like we spend too much time in tutorial mode and not enough time like getting into the game. I feel like there is something about pacing that needs to happen here, and I don't think that this game quite nails it. But I do appreciate the like it's I do, but what I do appreciate it's like it's visual fidelity, and the gentleness of the of the background music. The soundtrack is it's minimal, but it's also quite calming. So I mean, like I mean, this is music you would play when you're actually like working on things. Like particularly on a computer. So if you're working on a project to do some editing, yeah, I think that succeeds. The visuals are great, but I don't think I see a problem with like the UI at all. But it simply does feel very very handholdy, and I think that what it needs to do is that it really needs is an audience, which I think what happened here is that they tried their best to like fit this concept into a game, and it turned into like this like educational tool that you can like access well, thankfully like you can actually like enjoy this get this through Steam. I don't know if there's any other visual tools that you can get online. Maybe there are, maybe there are not. But I mean, I think like if the price were to go down a little less, I would say like $10. I think $18 is kind of pushing it. But I mean, it's very clear that they've thought about like a lot of the equations. But I think like but you see, this is where it also gets a little, like where I struggle on trying to figure out like a price point, because first off, does the developer know who its intended audience is? And if that's the case, then is it justifiable to charge folks $18? That really depends on who your target audience is. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the intention of the developer was. But going through like some of its community forum, so if I go to, for example, like some of these reviews here, Zachtronics Games, okay. Kiskit. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like, people are actually inspired to like explore, like a code development. I see someone had mentioned Python. Way too easy. Keep yapping about the infinite. Yeah. So that's that. I do see that as like as a solid as an actual criticism. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, they do seem to have like a solid base in terms of like, the gameplay. I think like they just need to like just get people in to the game as fast as possible. But at the same time, like I understand where the developer is coming from. They're trying really hard to educate folks on the merits of learning about computing. In which case, I would say, understand like if you're targeting like a developer crowd, they're gonna know a lot about this stuff already. I mean, they know the basics already. They see the Z gates, X gates, and then gradually let them play through. Allow them to just try to solve a few puzzles on their. So here's the feedback. Know that your audience is going to get it. You know, like you give them enough of a tutorial, enough tutorials that they're going to figure this out on their own. And so it doesn't have to be so hand-holdy. Give them the opportunity to solve a few puzzles on their own, and then eventually, gradually introduce those new concepts. I was getting concept after concept after concept. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to forget a lot of this stuff by the time that I get around to it again later tonight or sometime later this week. And I hate to say that because it's a lot of information overload, and I didn't get a chance to explore some of these concepts on my own. I was just told, "Here, do this, do that," and I'm just gonna it's gonna go in one, it's gonna go above my head, and I'm just gonna forget that, and I'm gonna have to replay some of these missions again. But okay. But anyway, I hope that was quite helpful to the developers. Quirks, what was it again? It was Quarks Interactive. Anyway, if you really want to check this out, feel free to spend the money. But I think I don't think at this point I'm going to take back what I said about the pricing. I don't think it's the pricing that's the issue. I think it's really the presentation. The visuals are good. The concepts are interesting, but there's just way too many concepts being introduced in a span of a half hour, and I just lost interest. So I might come back to it with that understanding, but I'm going to try my best to rehash everything that I learned so far, and understand that when I'm talking, I'm basically talking from a stream of consciousness, which basically means that I'm thinking as I'm talking. I'm talking as I'm thinking. So if you start to hear, if you start to hear what do you call, counterpoints here and there, or what do you call contradictions? If you start to hear contradictions in my rambling, there you go, because I'm trying to make sense as to what this game is. And and given this, I mean, I think there is something interesting about this game. Right now, it just didn't win me over this time. Maybe I might come back to it, but because I did get this for free. But if I had paid money for this, I would have probably got a refund already. So, requested it for a refund. That is. Otherwise, I think this game's got potential. It just needs to it just needs to understand that its audience is going to grasp a lot of these concepts, and then eventually they're going to need to learn this stuff on their own, and then eventually introduce those new concepts. So anyway, that's it for me for my impressions. I just want to say thank you again to Quarks Interactive and Keymailer for the key. If you haven't yet, please do and you like what you saw here, like the video, comment on what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks a lot, everyone. Hang loose.